Today we're doing one of the most famous French bean recipes, casserole.
Remember those warm, cozy Sunday dinners at Grandma's house? The kitchen smelled amazing. Everyone was gathered around the table and the food totally unforgettable. In this video, we're bringing back 14 Sunday suppers that Grandma used to make. Dishes full of comfort, love, and flavor. So stick around until the end, because the last one might just bring a tear to your eye. Let's start with something that always felt extra special on Grandma's table. Grandma's roast lamb was always the star of Sunday dinner. She'd take a big bone-in leg of lamb and rub it all over with garlic, rosemary, salt, and olive oil. Then she'd place it on a tray full of chopped carrots and potatoes and roast it in the oven for hours. The lamb came out tender and juicy with a slightly crispy crust, and the best part, she'd take the leftover juices from the pan, add a little flour and broth, and turn it into the tastiest gravy ever. Once the lamb was resting, she'd pull out a creamy casserole that stretched leftover turkey like magic. After Thanksgiving, Grandma always had extra turkey, and she knew exactly what to do with it. Make turkey tetrazzini. She'd shred the leftover turkey and mix it with cooked spaghetti, mushrooms, and a creamy white sauce. She added a splash of cooking sherry and stirred in some Parmesan cheese. Then it all went into a big baking dish with more cheese on top and into the oven until it was golden and bubbly. It smelled amazing and tasted even better. Now it's time for something flaky, creamy, and straight out of the oven. Grandma's chicken pot pie wasn't like the frozen kind you get at the store. Nope, hers was made from scratch. She'd start with leftover chicken, chop up carrots and peas, and mix them all in a thick, creamy gravy. Then she'd pour it into a big dish and cover it with a flaky crust that turned golden brown in the oven. The smell alone would make your stomach growl. When it came out, the crust was crispy on top, but soft and buttery underneath. And when the pie dish was empty, Grandma reached for the pasta and made something super simple, but super tasty. Okay, don't confuse this with pasta and ketchup. Grandma's macaroni and tomatoes was way better than that. She'd cook elbow macaroni, mix it with stewed tomatoes, a bunch of butter, salt, pepper, and maybe a little garlic or onion if she had it. That was it. Super simple, but somehow it hit the spot every single time. It was the kind of meal you made when money was tight, but you still wanted something warm and filling. There was no cheese, no meat, no sauce from a jar, but it didn't matter. The flavor came from love and those buttery, juicy tomatoes. That was tomato-tastic. Now grab your spoon. Soup season is coming in hot. Ham and bean soup was the kind of dish that showed up every time the weather turned cold or when there were leftovers in the fridge. Grandma never let food go to waste. She'd save the ham bone from Sunday dinner, toss it into a big pot with white beans, chopped onions, carrots, garlic, and water, and let it simmer for hours. The smell would fill the house and make you hungry even if you weren't. It was thick, hearty, and somehow super flavorful, even though it was made with scraps. Soup's done, but we're not slowing down. Here comes Grandma's magic trick, turning tuna into a crowd favorite. Tuna noodle casserole was one of those meals Grandma made when she needed to feed a lot of people fast. It was super easy to throw together. Just a can of tuna, some egg noodles, a can of cream of mushroom soup, and dinner's ready. She'd mix it all up, top it with breadcrumbs or crushed crackers, and bake it until it was golden and crispy on top. The inside was creamy, warm, and super filling. Sure, it came from stuff in a can, but somehow it didn't taste like it. It actually tasted awesome. Now let's slice into a pie that's anything but ordinary. Yes, pie, made from tomatoes. Okay, tomato pie sounds weird if you've never had it, but trust me, it's delicious. Grandma would slice up fresh tomatoes, mix them with chopped basil, mayo, and shredded cheese, then layer it all into a pie crust and bake it. The result? A gooey, cheesy, slightly sweet, and super flavorful dish that somehow worked in the best way. It was kind of like pizza in a pie crust, but better. And when peppers were on sale, she'd stuff them with something totally different. Whenever Grandma saw bell peppers on sale, she'd grab a bunch and make this colourful, cozy dinner. She'd cut off the tops and scoop out the seeds, then stuff the peppers with a yummy mix of diced chicken, cooked rice, tomatoes, onions, and herbs. Sometimes she'd even add a little garlic or shredded cheese if she had it. Once the peppers were all filled up, she'd sprinkle more cheese on top and bake them in the oven until everything was soft and melted together. Some Sundays, beans took center stage. This dish was like a southern hug in a bowl. Grandma soaked dried black-eyed peas overnight, then simmered them low and slow with smoked turkey wings for that deep, smoky flavor. Right in the same pot, she piled in chopped collard greens, letting them soften and soak up all the juices. A dash of vinegar and a sprinkle of pepper finished it off. She always served it with a wedge of hot cornbread to soak up every drop. Back to chicken, but dressed up with bright citrus. Grandma's lemon herb roast chicken was simple but felt totally special. She took a whole chicken, rubbed it all over with soft butter, and sprinkled on salt, pepper, and fresh thyme. Then she zested and juiced a couple of lemons. Half the juice went inside the cavity with garlic cloves, the rest got drizzled on top. As it roasted, the skin turned super crispy, while the meat stayed juicy and soaked up that lemony flavor. She'd baste it a few times with the drippings so every bite tasted bright and buttery. Now it was time for something sweet, smoky, and a little bit fancy. Pineapple-glazed ham was like Grandma's way of turning Sunday dinner into a mini holiday. She'd take a big ol' ham, score the top, and press in whole cloves. Then came the fun part, brushing on a thick glaze made from brown sugar and pineapple juice. And of course, she'd stick pineapple rings on top with cherries in the middle. So retro and cute. The ham would bake until it got sticky and golden on the outside, but stayed juicy inside. It looked amazing on the table, and the smell, sweet and smoky, all at once. Now get ready for a side dish that everyone fought over at dinner. Scalloped potatoes were a total Sunday classic at Grandma's house. She'd slice the potatoes super thin, like paper, and layer them in a big baking dish. Then she'd pour in a mix of milk, butter, and sometimes shredded cheese. Some days she'd toss in chopped onions or little ham pieces to level it up. After baking, the top would get all golden and crispy, while the inside stayed creamy and soft. And for something hearty plus a little green, she went full farmhouse. Casserole sounds fancy, but Grandma's version was pure farmhouse comfort. She used white beans from a can, added sliced pork sausage, and cooked everything with chopped kale, garlic, and carrots. Everything went into a big baking dish, topped with breadcrumbs, and baked until the top was crispy. The inside stayed soft and flavorful like a stew, but with more texture. It was smoky, garlicky, and totally filling, especially with a side of crusty bread. And to wrap it all up, Grandma always had one last dish that brought everything together in one big cozy pan. This was Grandma's go-to lazy Sunday meal, chicken and rice bake. She'd take a big baking dish, pour in uncooked rice, a can of cream soup, usually mushroom or chicken, some broth, and mix in all her secret seasonings. Then she'd place seasoned chicken thighs or breasts right on top and bake it all together. As it cooked, the rice soaked up all the flavor and the chicken got super tender and juicy. The whole house smelled amazing, cozy, warm, like something good was about to happen. And just like that, Grandma's Sunday table is complete. Which one do you want back the most? Let us know below.